is a gynecologist. Mitali is a gynecologist by profession and a wildlife photographer by passion.
Good
Next,
evening.
let us welcome Mitali. Next, let us welcome Dhrubajyoti Chakraborty, affectionately known as DJ, a professor of history, sub-editor of the Statesman Kolkata, and a senior corporate executive, an avid sportsman, and a passionate birder. The third person on the panel is somebody on whom this passion has rubbed off, but professionally, he's the founder chief of Learning System, Cinema for a Cause, and Talks. He's a creative professional and entrepreneur, an independent filmmaker, voice and communication consultant with over 25 years in showbiz. Welcome, Abhishek Ganguly.
Thank you so much, Adit. Thank you.
Without much ado, I will address the first question to Abhishek. Abhishek, you as a filmmaker, having experimenting with Robindra Sarovar and his biodiversity, how did you get interested in Robindra Sarovar? And what are your other projects at Rabindra Sarovar? Over to you.
Thank you, Adit, for the question. I have a platform which is called Cinema for a Cause, under which we experiment, experience, and explore. So all this, whatever is happening from my perspective, is all under Cinema for a Cause. Now, Robindra Sarovar, it's also the lungs of South Kolkata, and it is a blessing to South Kolkatans like us or me. So my, like journey started, I have to go on a flashback to use a filmy term. It started very early in my childhood when I learned swimming in Robindra Sarovar in a club, which is Indian Life Saving Society, also lovingly called the Anderson Club. So I remember, going with my father, then the trainers there, lots of friends we made, the splashes in the swimming pool. Even we, swam in the public pool, that is the real lakes. So it was so exciting. And, it was kind of dipping and sinking into a different world altogether, the aqua world of Robindra Sarovar. So we got hooked on right from the early childhood. It became a, part of my character. Later on, during my, late school and early college days, it was a favorite hangout with my friends. We used to go there, have puchka, bhelpuri in Vivekananda Park, big adda sessions in the lakes itself. So again, a lot of romantic and very exciting memories are there with the lakes. Now it is a part of my everyday regime. I go there for a morning walk, and it's a kind of a lifestyle, a big part of my lifestyle or life management, which is Robindra Sarovar. Now, in 2016, 2017, while, again, in my morning walk stream, I was keenly observing the kind of people who go there, people from different walks of life. They have different attitude, different body language, different ways of expression and expressing themselves, and the fantastic nature which is there. The treescapes, the water, rippling water, the birds, the bees, the other exotic species. So I was, toying with the idea, why don't I capture all this in bits and pieces? So previously, I used to work with big cameras, but unfortunately, in the lakes, they don't allow shooting without permission. So obviously, my big camera was a strict no-no there. So this was the place in 2016. I began my filming, the debut of filming through a DSLR camera. I have a friend called Dr. Ajoy Bishas, and Ajoy, I am totally indebted to him. He lent his 550D, a Canon camera, and he said, okay, Abhishek, you go and experiment. So I kept it for really 1 to 2 months, and I went on filming, photographing, and I got hooked on the kind of chemistry, the kind of camaraderie, the kind of colors, the kind of vibrations. It was amazing. So, once I got hooked onto the Robindra Sarovar culture, I felt it's like a big family. It's the Lakes Parivar or the Sarovar Parivar. So 2016, 2017, 2 years in bits and pieces, different seasons, different kind of activities. I went on filming. There was no script. I went on filming, and the final product was a documentary called Sarovar, which explores into the past, the present as it was happening now, and the future road ahead. And in the future, obviously, we thought that we have to show or we have to express our concern about preserving the biodiversity. Because I also met a lot of environmentalists. Can this be played later, please? Yeah. Audit. So while I was exploring it, I was also interviewing a lot of environmentalists, conservationists. So they all kind of expressed their concern that the lakes in its real character must be preserved. So, they have also given their interviews and they have expressed that. And while we were doing that, I spoke to one or two of my birder friends, Shrudeep Ghosh and Mitali Das, and they introduced me to a few birders also. So in the Sarovar documentary, there is one part where we have covered one or two interviews of the birders, but I found them very interesting because it was a totally unknown terrain for me. What are they doing with those big lenses? I had a very general camera, but they had fantastic bodies, exciting, very, very attractive lenses, and they were going on from one tree to the other, and they moved in groups, and they had fantastic chemistry also between them. They had a language which I could not understand really. While they were talking, suddenly they hear a bird, they all run there. So, just observing them, I can see a bird laughing, just observing the birders itself was an experience. So once Sarovar was made, it was YouTube, and we had a fantastic premiere at the Birla Industrial and Technological Museum, where a lot of Sarovar morning walkers, evening walkers, they all came. About more than 1,500 DVDs were sold, and it's on YouTube. It has good views also. So in the pandemic, when I was, totally getting very bored at home, they kind of eased the pandemic, and the morning walkers, evening walkers were allowed entry once again back to the Sarovar. And this time, the wicked me, I thought, okay, let's do something else. I'm always experimenting. So this time I had already thought that I must do something with the birders community. So I again rang up Shrudeep and I said, Shrudeep, ebar ki kora jete pare? I'm just telling you in Bengali because you'll actually understand. So he said, Abhishek, you do it on the birders this time. So again, Shrudeep and Mitali, they were so, not Mitali Dev, but Mitali Das. There's another lady there, very passionate. So Mitali and Shrudeep, they gave me the numbers of a lot of birders in this particular, this was a web series, it was an 18-episode web series called Their Lives. Their means the biodiversity, and Our Lake. And the kind of coexistence, like jointly staying together, smiling together, enjoying nature together. The entire world is, a joint kind of a collaboration where they have to exist, we also have to exist. So Their Lives, Our Lake happened. 18 interviews were taken, 18 people with different kind of gear, different backgrounds, different walks of life, with different sentiments. And the way they express their passion, or you have to see to believe. And we have two such, very, very luminary figures from the birding fraternity today. And we will be seeing their combo video now. But before that, right now, I'm also working on another series called The Treescapes of Sarovar, which is on the rare and the old trees, because the Sarovar also has a fantastic flora variety. So lots of very rare and old trees are there. So we are doing an 8-episode series called Treescapes of Sarovar, which is also being YouTube. So before we get into the real, panel discussion, I would just request the creative team, backend creative team, to show that combo episode where the dashing DJ and the very intelligent and very, very enlightening Mitali, they have been featured through one combo episode of Our Lives, Their Lake. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Can we have the video, please?
Yeah.
In the picturesque setting of the Rabindra Sarovar, Kolkata, we met the tall and handsome Dhrubajyoti Chakraborty with his birding photographic gear and a passion to champion the cause to preserve biodiversity. He is famous in the birding circuit as DJ, a topper in History BA from Presidency College, Kolkata, and also a topper MA from Presidency University. Having more than 37 years of experience as a school teacher with South Point High School, Kolkata, newspaper editor at the Statesman, Kolkata, college lecturer at the Scottish Church College, university professor at the Vishwa Bharati University, finally a major stint as a senior corporate executive. An outdoor person, DJ is a great lover of nature for the unadulterated vibrance, vibrations, and vistas. Let us meet Dhrubajyoti Chakraborty, lovingly called DJ.
My name is Dhrubajyoti Chakraborty. Been a long time in the corporate world, working in various positions. But in the corporate world, what happens is Dhrubajyoti becomes too long a name, it becomes DJ.
Okay.
So universally known as DJ across the corporate world,
Okay.
and also among my friends, my tennis friends, my birding friends, and people who go to the jungles with me. Oh, it started off at a very early age. My father used to love the jungles, and my first visit to the jungles was in Bandipur when I was in class 8. And at that time I had a Rolleiflex camera,
Okay.
which was a double lens camera. And I became interested in jungles. I became interested in nature. And later on I found out that it was easier to shoot big mammals than birds. But birds interested me because of the diverse colors it has.
Okay.
The colors are the reflections of what we see around us.
Yeah.
The lipstick on the woman's lips,
Yeah.
the dresses which they wear.
Okay.
Many times you can find a woman going into the sari shop and asking for, give me a peacock blue sari.
So
So where does the peacock blue
direct
comes
connect with
from?
the birds. Yeah.
So it is directly with the birds. So
Correct.
that became an interest with me. Nikon 7200D.
Okay.
And the lens is a Nikon F4 VR. But then I'm also using a teleconverter with it, which is a Kenko teleconverter 1.4. So effectively it gives me a range of about 600 ml.
Location, Rabindra Sarovar, Kolkata. Time, early morning. We spent some valuable moments with busy doctor Mitali Deb, who is also a passionate birder, an avid photographer who loves to capture the life of the known and unknown birds, landscapes, people, and their lifestyles. For Mitali, traveling is a passion, and embracing nature is very near to her heart. We had Mitali in front of our camera.
আমার নাম ডক্টর মিতালি দেব, আমি একজন গাইনোকোলজিস্ট। আর ভালো লাগে আমার পরিবেশের ছবি তুলতে। অ্যাকচুয়ালি আই এম নেচার লাভার। পাখি, পশু, প্রজাপতি, ফুল সব কিছুর ছবি আমি তুলি। মন ভরে যায়, এটাই ভালো লাগে আর কিছু। মানে বলে বোঝাতে পারবো না যে আমরা কতটা লাকি যে আমাদের শহরের মধ্যে এতখানি একটা গ্রিন এরিয়া আমরা পাচ্ছি, আমি তো একদিনের 1/4 তো হেঁটে পাখি দেখে শেষ করতে পারবো না। মানে আসা মানেই আনন্দ, এই যে খুঁজে খুঁজে একটি পাখি প্রজাপতিকে আমি ছবি তুলবো, সে আনন্দে মন ভরে যায়, এটাই আনন্দ। সুতরাং রবীন্দ্র সরোবরে আসতেই হবে। মানে এই এতটা গ্রিন, শুধু সকালে মর্নিং ওয়াক হবে, তার সঙ্গে পাখির তোলা হবে, তার সঙ্গে মন ভালো হবে, সবকিছু নিয়ে রবীন্দ্র সরোবরের কোনো জবাব নেই। ওটা এখন একটা রিফ্লেক্সের মতো হয়ে গেছে। মানে আমার একটা সিক্স সেন্স কাজ করে, যেখানে পাখি আছেই, তার কলটাকে আমরা বুঝে নিই, জেনে নিই যে কে কিরকম পাখি কল দেয়। সে কল, মানে এই যে আপনার ইন্টারভিউ দিতে দিতে আমি বুঝতে পারছি আমার পাশে কিছু একটা আছে, আমার চোখ চলে যাচ্ছে বারবার। এটা একটা ইনস্টিংক্ট, এটা ঠিক বলে বোঝাতে পারবো না, ঠিক বুঝতে পারি, প্র্যাকটিসের সঙ্গে সঙ্গে হয়ে যায়, বলে বোঝাতে পারবো না।
Fantastic,
before you-
Abhishek. Fantastic.
Yeah. Before you get into the next question, just before that, I'll take 10 seconds of yours. The
Yes, sure.
entire series each time,
Uh-huh.
as it was pandemic times, it was shot in a GoPro, okay, a very small adventure camera.
Okay.
I learned 4 things from these birders, 4 P's I call it. Like, there are 4 P's in marketing. One is the kind of passion they exhibit. Second is the patience, patience waiting for the capture. Third is perfection. And last but not the least is presence of mind from one tree to the other. The way they go, like you have to see it's like a balletic movement with those big lenses. So you have to see to believe to get infected. Adeep, yeah, you can carry on.
Fantastic. Taking that cue, Abhishek, Mithali, from forceps to those camera lens that Abhishek is talking about, how did you get into wildlife photography? A gynecologist by profession?
Yes. Thank you, Calcutta Club, for giving me this opportunity to showcase my work. And thank you, everyone. Yes, I'm a gynecologist by profession, and I love to take the photographs of wild animals, birds, flower, everything. Birds, animals, butterflies, insect. And, I was born and brought up in South Kolkata area, where the nature was very green, very much green. Now it is, and there is no gadgets like mobiles, laptops. And I spent all the free times within the nature. And I used to watch birds, butterflies, reptiles within my beautiful garden. And my mother used to teach me what are the names of these birds. So I became a nature lover or bird watcher very early in my life. Later in my life, I went through a proper photography training, and I got 2 distinctions from Federation of Indian Photography. And I started my journey of photography. Then I thought, why shouldn't I combine the 2 aspects of my passion, that is photography and my bird watching, together? And thus my journey of wildlife photography began. Now it is my hobby, it is my passion. You can call it addiction too.
Fantastic. So could we have some of our photographs? Can you take us through them? Piali, can you share some photographs that Mithali has shared with us?
These are woodpeckers.
These are all at Sarovar or
Yes.
mixed?
No, it's mixed. This is taken in Sarovar, the whole family of kingfisher, the state bird of
Wow.
West Bengal. This is paradise flycatcher.
Wow, what colors? This is some bird going for a kill. And these birds?
Yeah. East Bardhaman.
Wow. Fantastic. I mean, what colors and what moments you've been able to capture. So what equipment do you shoot with, and how important is the equipment for a good photograph? Something that you would like to share with the audience?
Okay, I'm showing you. This is my camera, Nikon
Wow.
D500, and the lens, 200-500 Nikon, 5.6 aperture. I use this camera when I want to reach the birds very closely, you know.
Oh,
So most of the time I use this camera. I have another one. This lens, 70-300 lens, a Nikon D7200 camera. This camera I use when I know my subject is very close to me, like butterflies, the common birds. And I have another
Okay.
one, the wide lens. This wide lens I use when I know that the animal or the bird which is very far to me, far away to me.
okay.
And there will be some action, like the tiger is chasing a giraffe, or a bird is flying with a catch on its mouth. So I can catch that in a frame, wide frame. This wide lens is
Wow.
used for that. And the next question is, the answer to next question is that camera. I think, personally, I think camera plays least important role behind a good photograph. The main thing behind a good photograph is the brain behind the photographer. You know, brain means your eyes, your ears should be sharp open every time, and your presence of mind. You have to capture the moment, and it will give you only 2 or 3 seconds. And you have to keep the knowledge of both camera and the birds or the animals you want to photograph, and the knowledge about basic of photography. And the most important thing
Fantastic.
is your passion, your patience, and your practice over the years. These are the things will show in your photograph.
Wow.
And another thing is
Fantastic.
that some
Mhm.
amount of editing should be done after you take that photograph.
Okay. Okay. And
These are the main things
uh,
behind a good photograph to make.
as they say, photographs speak better than words. So Piali,
Yeah.
can we have some more photographs taken by Dr. Dev, please? Please share.
Hey. Indian grey mongoose, the first one. The osprey, the next one. The Indian squirrel, palm squirrel. It was dancing near a sunflower tree.
But these are more. Yeah, this is what I was. So these are owls on the right, top right.
Yeah, these are owls.
Three
The
owls
scoop,
on the
Indian
right?
scoop owl, taken
Okay.
in the North 24 Parganas. The middle one, the green, it is called
Yes.
the leaf bird. It is taken in Himalayas, North Bengal. And the red one, paradise
Mhm.
flycatcher with her babies. Below, the first one is the group of bar-headed goose. Bar-headed
Okay.
geese. They come across the Himalayas. And the middle one,
Migratory birds.
migratory birds. The middle one is the kingfisher, the state bird of West Bengal, catching a fish in Rabindra Sarovar. And then the yellow-bellied
Fantastic.
Prinia.
Fine.
Yeah.
With this, we'll take the rest of the shots later, maybe. And on this, DJ, do you agree with Mitali? What are your views?
Yeah, Mithali is bang on target with her views. But the only thing I would like to add here is that it is, as Mithali says, camera is the
DJ,
least,
will you come?
camera is the least of the important things. You know, what is more important is the man or the person behind the lens. You see, in wildlife photography, we do not have the luxury of saying lights, camera, and sound. That
Yeah.
is non-existent to us. What we have is that the presence of mind, how to use the light to our advantage, how to understand when to shoot, as Mithali says, the action shots. And also, the other most important thing is know your equipment. You should be able to adjust your camera's aperture, your shutter speed, your light, your white balance without opening your eyes. Try it blindfolded. The more you practice, the quicker you'll be on the draw. And the quickest one wins. That's my opinion. Thanks. Thanks, Adi. Hello, Adip, over to you. Adip, over to you.
I think Pradeep has got offline or something.
I think so.
Yeah. So DJ, why don't you continue, like elaborating on the equipment
the,
aspect?
the other thing which is very, very important is that, the type of lens you're using for a particular type of shot. Like as Mithali said, if you are shooting wide angle and you want to capture the frame of a bird hunting or a tiger chasing its prey, so you need a wide frame for that. Otherwise,
Correct.
you will miss the action.
Absolutely.
Now, there are times when we would sort of, like to get a very close view of the bird.
Mhm.
And in those cases, what happens is, suppose one is photographing a sunbird, for example. It's a very small bird, but you want to get the colors and you want to get, very close to the bird. Then Mithali's 200, 500 or my 400 or my 300 prime with the Kenko teleconverter is what is needed. So, equipments do play a part, but more importantly, what happens is that, it is the man behind the lens. It is the person behind the lens.
Person
Who
and the
can-
mind. And the mind.
So that, you are, as I said, you have to be quick on the draw. Birds don't give you time. Wildlife doesn't give you time. It doesn't pose in your studio. It poses in nature. It plays with the light. It plays with the vegetation. It plays with the shadows. So it's up to the person behind the camera how he can adjust his equipment to take a proper shot. So, I think that's very, very important. And Mithali was quite right in, giving me, the cue to sort of, explain it further. Thank you, Mithali, for that.
Thank you, Dijada.
Fine, fantastic. Mitali, on
Mhm.
that ground, what are the locations you have covered for photography, and how has the biodiversity of these areas changed over the years?
Yes, I have explored many places in and around the city, Kolkata, like Ravindra Sarovar, Baruipur, the bird sanctuary of Narendrapur, Rajarhat, Bardhaman, Birbhum. There is a Oxbow Lake at East Bardhaman called Purvostoli. That is a popular place for us. And the other states like Manglajori in Odisha. That is also a hotspot for birders. I have seen so many birds over the years, and some other states also. Like I have been to Kashmir, Uttarakhand, Himachal, Mizoram, Meghalaya, and the Karnataka, Kerala. These are the states I have covered. I have seen so many birds there, and I have been observing that there are so many changes over the years. Like forest areas, forest coverage are declining, and the consequences we are facing for that, and the water bodies are getting filled up for the agriculture or the construction purposes. There are the environment is polluted. Birds are posing over a plastic bottle. That's disgusting to see. I can see the poachers are hunting the birds everywhere. And the consequences is less birds are coming here. Our ecosystem is getting disturbed. Our biodiversity is getting altered. These are the consequences we are facing, and the diseases like epidemic diseases, this pandemic diseases, and the urban diseases are appearing, like physical diseases like strokes, COPD, asthmas, and the mental diseases like depression. These are the consequences, what is happening now. These are the changes happening over the years.
I could have the slide. There's one slide before. Yeah, there was one
Yeah, first one is
slide where there is a flock of birds. So if you
the
could
small patin gulls,
share
the
that,
flock of
yes, this one. So
small patin gulls.
can you take us to
Yeah, first one is the
so
small
the
patin
one on the
flock of,
top right? Okay.
and the second
Where
one
is that?
is the
Yeah.
small patin gulls are at Damodar river bank at Bardhaman, and the right upper one, the flock of flamingos at Mumbai, seen at Mumbai. In this pandemic time, lockdown period, there are huge number of flamingos arrived at Mumbai. And below, the
Yes.
kingfisher is hunting a frog. And on the right, the red munia at Rajarhat.
Wow. Okay, we'll stay on that and we'll carry on, go over to DJ. DJ, you are a birder. So what is your take on birding in urban areas? And if you would like to share any photographs from your end with the audience tonight.
We are always under the impression that wildlife is something which can be seen in jungles. It is not. Let me give you a fact. Among the 10,000 known species of birds in the world, there are 2,000, that is approximately 20%, which are found in cities. The only thing is that we don't keep our eyes open, nor our ears open. We can't hear them tweet, nor can we see them. Now, you don't have to go really very far to experience wildlife. There are plenty of spots in urban areas where you can enjoy the call of the wild. Common birds found in Indian cities would be the Indian robin, the barbets, the shikras, the sunbirds, the woodpeckers, the wagtails, and to be quite honest with you, our own very Calcutta Club, in fact, has a lot of birds which I have spotted when I was playing tennis in the morning. I've seen the red-breasted parakeet out here. I've seen the white-breasted kingfisher out here. I have seen the rock chat out here. I've seen the wagtails out here. I've seen the barbets out here. I've seen the red-vented bulbul, the sipahi bulbul, the green pigeon. So you don't have to look very, very far. Just keep your eyes and ears open. You know, I would like to blow on to some of the shots which I've taken, uh, especially in urban areas. Could I have slide number 1, please?
Yes, we are eagerly waiting for that, DJ.
Next. Next, please. Okay, this was taken at Hyderabad from the balcony of my daughter's flat, which is in the greater Hyderabad municipal area. And this is a pair of, small minivets, not a pair, it's actually 2 females. And in the background, what you see is black, that is the housing estate. Now, this is proper urban birding. Next slide, please. Now, this is a bee eater, a green bee eater. And I was out for a morning walk inside the colony. I always carry my camera with me. And while walking down, I see this bird perched on an electrical wire. And you can see the building behind it. But the fact remains that, since the camera was with me, my eyes were open, and I was enjoying nature. Therefore, I could shoot. And this is also taken in Hyderabad. Next slide, please. Now, this is the Tickle's blue flycatcher. Now, this is, again, not a very common bird, but it is again taken within the housing estate, within that area. And it is actually a winter migrant. And, Tickles is the name of the person who first identified this bird. And now, even when people go to Shamkola and all that, we go mad for a Tickle's blue flycatcher. But lo and behold, it's sitting there on a tree in the midst of an urban complex, an urban developmental area, and it is there for you to shoot. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. Oh, this is the shikra, which I was talking about, very common in Indian cities. Now, if I tell you the place where I shot it, you would be surprised. It is on Palabat Street, Ashoka Road, the hub, the commercial hub of Delhi. 200 meters away from Connaught Place, Palika Bazaar on one side, and you have the entire traffic flowing there in the morning. The shot was taken at around about 10 o'clock. I was having breakfast, and my camera was next to me. And the shikra comes and perches itself there right in front of my eyes. Now, you don't call this, this is not wilderness. This is not jungles. This is urban life. And, the avifauna exists there. Next slide, please. Oh, this is taken in the Sorobo, which is again in the hub of the city, as we call the lungs of Calcutta. This is the blue-capped rock thrush. Again, this is also a winter migrant. And the Sorobo does throw up quite a few surprises. And in fact, this blue-capped rock thrush has been a regular visitor for the last 2 years. And well, in the heart of the city, you can get this also. Look at the colors. Next one, please. This is the red-breasted flycatcher, the sensation of this year, the sensation of 2020, end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. There's a migrant, comes from the foothills of the Himalayas. And this was found in Lilliput, not just, opposite the Bengal Rowing Club. And the amount of cars being parked on, the Bengal Rowing Club, and the honk, the blowing of the car horns, the honking, and people shouting, the laughing club on the other end, judo practice going on. But this bird had come to stay, and it stayed for about 4 months. So when you look at urban birding, it does give you a lot of surprises. So next time when you're out on your morning walk, switch off your mobiles and then keep your eyes open for some fantastic shots of birds. Thank you, Adip. Over to you. I could have the slide later, please. Please not now. Adip, over to you, please. I think Adip was sort of, not getting connected.
DJ, I have a question
So
for
DJ,
you.
Ravindra Sarabor. Yeah, Ravindra Sarabor. Yeah.
Okay, Adip is there.
Ravindra Sarabor is the heart of Kolkata. It is quite close to your house. So what? Yeah, Abhishek, you want to share something?
No, it was okay.
Hello,
You were not
Abhishek, you want to
there.
share something?
No,
Okay.
I was just
Okay.
trying to understand something from DJ. Otherwise, it's okay. You carry on.
Okay. So DJ, just quickly, our Ravindra Sarabor in the heart of Kolkata is quite close to your house. So what is your experience of birding there?
When you talk about the Sarabor, you're talking about 192 acres of artificial lakes and green. And to me, it's a bird's paradise. Many of us are not aware that the Sarabor was given the takma of a national lake way back in 1997 under the National Lake Conservation Program. Now, talking about birding in Ravindra Sarabor, just to rattle off some figures, between January 2020 and now, birders of the Sarabor have identified, photographed, and made records of 118 species of birds.
Wow.
Now, just think about it. 180 species of birds.
That's mind-boggling.
But let me tell you one thing. Photographing wildlife, especially in Sarabor, is way far more difficult than photographing wildlife in Baripur and Rajasthan, which has got long open areas in front of you, where there are wonderful perches where birds come and sit.
Exactly.
Those are natural perches. But in Sarabor, the foliage is thick and heavy. The bushes are dense. Light plays a trick. And you've got to be really a smart photographer to photograph in the Sarabor. But in spite of all this, in spite of the 118 species which you have spotted, some of them are very rare species indeed. And believe you, they are migrants. Could I have the next slide, please? Could I have the next slide, please? Oh, this is a Siberian blue robin, photographed by me in 2018. Only two of us could photograph this bird. Another person was my co-birder, Rajiv Kumar De. And this comes all the way from Siberia. And it was there in the Sarabor, and it stayed exactly for half a day before it took off for migrating further south. The next slide, please. This is a eye-browed thrush. Again, a migrant from Siberia. Now, this bird had some peculiar behavior. Siberia being a very sparsely populated place, it did not know how to deal with so many humans walking around, so many people working around with their big lenses. And it seemed to be least disturbed. That is what I thought. Many people said that after its long flight from Siberia over the oceans and the climatic changes, that's about more than 10,000 kilometers we're talking about, it was too tired and it was replenishing its energies to go further south to Burma, Sri Lanka, where it actually, goes there and hatches and then goes back again to Siberia. The next slide, please. This is a changeable hawk eagle. pale mauve. This time, early March or early in February, this bird was spotted in, this is a raptor, so it's a hunting bird. This was spotted in the Shorobor. Shorobor is not very well known for raptor birding, but this bird happened to be there. And it was one of the rare finds in Shorobor again. So, Shorobor, as I told you, apart from kingfishers and others, and sunbirds, orange-headed thrushes, barbets, etc., it does throw up quite a few surprises. Surprises in the sense that you get birds coming all the way from Siberia. Uh, it's amazing. It's really amazing birding in the Shorobor. Over to you, Adip. Adip, over to you, please.
Yeah. The next question I would cross. I would like both DJ. The question to both of you first, DJ, over to you. What is in your perception
Adip,
the
you're not,
dangers posed by urbanization?
Adip, you're not clear at all. Please, could I have the question
Hello?
again?
Yes, DJ, did you get that? Yeah, DJ, what is your perception on the dangers posed by urbanization? And I would address the same question to Mitali after you finish. Over to you, DJ.
The most direct impact is the land cover change. By land cover change, I mean, the change in the canopy cover, the change in the, ground vegetation due to the growth of urbanization or urban area. And the second important thing is, you have large spaces, large habitats, like Rajarhat, for example, like Baripur, for example, like Boshipota, for example. But with the growth of urbanization, what is happening is this habitats are getting fragmented. They're getting, parceled out into smaller and smaller areas. The other important thing is that, with the growth of urbanization, the disposal of non-biodegradable material, as I would say, plastics and others, this is choking the environment. And by choking the environment, I mean, the birds and, the other, living organisms in the ecosystem, they are getting affected by this. Habitat loss due to massive felling of trees by the construction sector. I hope I'm not offending anyone in the audience by saying the construction sector, but that's a fact, is adversely affecting biodiversity. Now, the question is that, when we look at it as a whole, I feel that, these are the direct impacts of urbanization. And I'll show you some photographs on this. Could I have a slide? Could I have my slide, please? Slide number 12. Yeah. Now you see, this is a common hoopoe, which I shot in Baripur. And you can see bags of cement lying in front of it. These are not filled with cement, but they are plastic bags in which the cement comes. And it's very sad because this bird actually feeds on the food which is available at the ground vegetation, and it's not being able to do that. So this is one aspect of urbanization, which you see here. Could I have the next slide, please? Oh, I said, Robinga Shorobor was a part of the, was a national lake, and it was under the Lake Conservation Program of the Government of India, which actually bans certain, things within that national lake area, which would mean parties, loud music, and, even some religious festivals. Like, for the last 2 years, we are not having that. But before that, we used to have the Chhat Puja. And, there were a whole lot of oil spills in the waters of the lake. And the next day in the morning, we used to find fishes, with upturned bellies, dead fishes. And the birds used to run away because, used to fly away because of the bursting of crackers and the immense sound pollution. So this is another look at what urbanization is doing to biodiversity. The next slide, please. This is a Siberian ruby throat, all the way from Siberia again, shot at Rajarhat. I've not been to Rajarhat this year, but I'm certain this habitat does not exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, am I right, Mithali, on this?
Yeah, definitely. It's no
Yeah.
more.
It's no more. So you see, already when I shot this bird, you can see the burnt out twigs there, the burnt out grassland. And just imagine, if I would go into your house and burn it down, how would you feel? It's not the question of, burning down something for urban development, burning down something for economic development. I'm not talking about that. I'm just only, highlighting what can urbanization do to the biodiversity of an area. And mind you, Rajarhat is within the Sundarban, larger Sundarban biosphere under the Forest Department of the government of West Bengal and India. And we are facing this. Next slide, please. This is again at Baruipur. This is a oriental Kraton coal. And you can see the underground vegetation has been burnt because some development is going to take place there. Mithali, if I'm not wrong, we go for Pratin coals every year to Baruipur, and we find a lot of them. Flocks of Pratin coals come there, but
Yeah.
they come there for feeding. They come there for water because it is surrounded by marshy land, water bodies. But in the name of development, what are we doing? Are we really concerned about the future? Are we really concerned about ecology? Are we really concerned about, how to save the biodiversity? I'm not talking about birds. By trying to protect the ecology, trying to protect biodiversity, what we are talking about is we are talking about the future, our future, the future of the next generation, the future of the planet, the future of the world in which we will live, and maybe in the world in which our future generations will live. Over to you.
Yeah. So Mithali, on that ground, do you want to add anything to what
Yeah.
your co-brother has shared on this ground
Yeah.
about dangers posed by?
As a doctor, I have something to say, important. What our biodiversity is. Biodiversity is the sum of even microorganisms, insects, birds, animals, everything, plants. It's a sum of everything which forms a part of an ecosystem. And what ecosystem gives us, it serves us for water recycling, nutrient recycling. They serves us food, and everything is intimately linked with the well-being of us, human. If this biodiversity gets altered, so what happens? Everything alters around us. As the environment is getting polluted, and there are appearance of many diseases like epidemics, pandemics, and there are some urban diseases, COPD, heart diseases, these things. And the marine ecosystem also gets altered. So the water aquatic life also gets disturbed. These are the consequences we are facing due to the urbanization. There are air pollution, environment pollution, habitats are getting lost. The many birds and animals are getting extinct, disappear, just disappear. Less birds are migrating towards us. This thing. Over to Mr. Gupta.
Coming to you, Abhishek, you did your filming, right? What has been your increase in avian numbers during the lockdown? Anything that you would like to touch upon here?
Yeah, Adeep. Before I get into the answer to my question, I would like to tell DJ Da that it was so happy and heartening to know that Calcutta Club itself has such a wide variety of avian fauna. While he was playing tennis, he explored so many. Fantastic. Next time I have to keep my eyes and ears open, it seems. That was really a fantastic, very kind of a very surprise yet very pleasing fact which you have shared with us.
Next time you want to come and join me for tennis, or
I must. I must. See, pandemic has been a blessing for birding because less footfalls of people, quiet lakes, the wild growth of the trees, the shrubs, nature in its wild and raw appeal. So that really attracted lots of birds to come. And that again, it was a chain effect. And obviously, once the birds came, the birders also came there. And the birders have a fantastic communication network, like they ring themselves up, ring their partners up, they WhatsApp them, they have different groups. So they share, this was sighted in that part of lake. So it's very much like a Morse code, which is totally dedicated to birding. And I and you who are non-birders will not be able to really decipher that, but they understand. And even the body language of the birders, while they shoot, they just look at the other birder and the kind of signal each birders do understand. So while I was filming the entire web series during the pandemic, my birders' age range was from the youngest one was 10 to 12 years old, and the eldest one was 77 years old, a retired gentleman called Bijoda. Okay, so the entire wide range of age difference, but one thing was really common, which was passion. And for me also, the pandemic pangs which I had, physically and mentally, this experience, Adeep, you won't believe it, was really therapeutic for me. I was a changed man. Every day I spent with these birders, during their birding, interviewing them, capturing their birding antics. It was therapy. I came back totally refreshed, rejuvenated. So the pandemic was a rocking time for the birders as well as for me.
Fantastic. DJ, how has the biodiversity of urban India been affected by the lockdown? Has it been a boon for the urban biodiversity, or has it adversely impacted on the urban biodiversity? Your views on that?
Adeep, when we answer this question, I would like to share both sides of the coin. You see, conservation efforts had been put to hold because of lockdown, because of less manpower, because of less forest cuts and things like that. Poaching increased. Okay, so that is one of the adverse effects of lockdown. But on the other side, if you look at the other side of the coin, you'll find that the pros of lockdown outnumber the cons. Now look at it this way: there was less land and water travel, improved the quality of air and water. That means it was good for water, animals and birds and the wildlife in the water, and the air quality also improved. Surprisingly, during the lockdown, the daily global CO2 emissions decreased by 17%. which is a huge figure we are
Wow.
talking about. Okay, now this is something, which is easily available. You can check up with the, there's a site where, UN World Environment, they check these figures. So noise pollution decreased dramatically because less of honking of cars, less of people moving around,
Mhm.
and there was less interference by humans in the natural habitats. We see it very often in Shorobor. When there was no lockdown,
Mhm.
in Shorobor, we have demarcated certain areas which are not touched by the Lions Club of Safari Park. Now, those are birding habitats. But when there was no lockdown, people used to go in there, have a smoke, collect firewood, and disturb the birds. So the paradise flycatcher wouldn't be there the next morning. So, lockdown had this positive side. And mind you, this gave nature a chance to rejuvenate itself, to come out. And, you see, nature reclaims ground very fast, faster than what we think. And that is something, which has been proved by facts. The depletion in the ozone layer, for example, that has been made up quite a lot with less of aircraft flying around. So, these things are very, very important, and lockdown has been a boom. If you look at the pros and the cons, I would say the pros are much more than the cons. Now, over here, as far as the effects of the lockdown are concerned, I would like to show a couple of slides of mine where I have photographed particular birds during the lockdown. And, I am sure that the viewers would definitely, enjoy this. Over to you, Adi. But I
Yes.
have the slides.
Yeah, you have. Okay, fine. Yeah, go ahead.
But I have the slides, please. Yeah, so this is the stork-billed kingfisher.
Mhm.
Shot just, when we came out of the lockdown and went back into the lockdown. So the stork-billed kingfisher is there in Robindo Shorobor, but in Safari Park, sitting on a perch like this, unperturbed, is a very rare sight. This is one lockdown slide, which is very, very, interesting. Next one, please. You see, this is taken in Hyderabad. This is a small minivet, which is the male one, because the colors, distinctly indicate that this is a male small minivet. And see, look at all the photographs of these birds. They are perched on their, on the branches, unperturbed. Just after lockdown, or just going into lockdown, this was the sight of nature. It was full of colors. It was tranquil. It was peaceful. It was like, as if, okay, I'm still there. I'm there for you. Please enjoy. Please enjoy what I want to give you. The next slide, please. This is taken at the back of the, airport at Hyderabad, the GMR airport. They've got a small marshy plot there. And these are the Indian spot-billed ducks. You can ask me, oh, they should be there always. No, they're not. Because, during this time, because since my daughter works for the GMR airport, she's got a special pass to sort of, so I could travel along with her. And I was lucky enough to visit this. But there are no overhead jets flying. There are no cars honking. There is no tractors moving around. There are no luggages being, the huge trolleys, which, sort of, put the luggage into the plane and all that. They're not going this side, that side. It is undisturbed. It's a pair. Just look at it. You can see that the water is tranquil. The birds seem least perturbed. They are not frightened. So this was lockdown again. And could I have the next slide, please? The paradise flycatcher. Now this paradise flycatcher is a molting feathers. This looks brown, but it's going to turn into white You can see the breast turn into white, and the wings are also getting white streaks on it. So by the time it's full grown, it will be a white paradise, male white paradise flycatcher. This was taken in Robindra Sorobor. And, I think, this is the first time I've seen a molting male. I've seen brown paradise flycatchers. I've seen white paradise flycatchers, but I've not seen a molting male. Obviously, it went and parked itself there, decided to spend some time with us, decided to, sort of, change its colors and stay with us. The next slide, please. You see, painted storks. Oh, they came back 4 years. They were there 4 years earlier. After that, they vanished. This was at Robindra Sorobor. They decided to not to come back to Robindra Sorobor because of Chhath Pujo, because of firecrackers, because of loud music. This year, with the lockdown, last year with the lockdown, they came back in large numbers. They built their nests there. They hatched. They've got chicks now. They keep on flying over the Sorobor. Isn't that wonderful? Don't you think that's a sight to be seen? Don't you feel that, we could sort of, take urbanization and biodiversity to the next level? Over to you, Ajay.
Thank you, DJ. Mitali and DJ, this question is for both of you, but I would like DJ to answer it first, and then next Mitali. That when we talk about biodiversity, do we take into account only avian biodiversity, or do we look beyond birds as well? So DJ, first you, and then over to Mitali.
You see, Mitali had made the point very clear that by biodiversity, we mean the number and variety of plants and animals and other organisms living in the ecosystem. Now that would include butterflies, that would include caterpillars, that would include mongoose, that would include squirrels, etc., etc. Scientists, they have predicted that based on the current trend of habitat loss and global warming, 1/3 to 1/2 of the species which we see today will be extinct. Now, this is a matter of grave and serious concern. Now, during my, I've been, a wildlife photographer for the last 15, 20 years. Now, during my, experience as a wildlife photographer, I have visited a large number of forests across India, be it Bandipur, Ranthambore, Rana, Pench, Panna, even up to Himachal, Nadi village, and birding places, and places where they have a lot of flora and fauna of various types. And so my interest as a wildlifer, my interest as a wildlife photographer has inspired me to shoot animals and species other than birds. And I would request that Mitali should come on with the slides, because she has wonderfully shot some beautiful species other than what I have shot. I can come in after Mitali, or if you want my slides to be earlier.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Mitali, over to you. Beyond birds.
Yeah.
So
No,
we want to see, the audience is eagerly waiting to see some of your slides,
Okay.
photographs, if you have any,
okay,
of something beyond
Please.
birds, and your take on that.
please.
Piali, could we have the photographs which Dr. Dev had shared, which are not related to birds? So could we have that, Piali? No, not this one, Piali.
Audip, if she is ready with mine, she can go with mine.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Piali. Yeah, stay on this slide.
Yes. What you can see, the beyond birds, there are snakes, butterflies, the venomous snake, Russell viper, the Indian golden jackal in the middle, and the lower portion, you can see the monkey, langur, the garden lizard, and the butterflies. These all are the components of complete ecosystem. Not only the bird, we have to think about everyone to save our Mother Earth. All should be conserved. We should take care of them to protect our biodiversity and the ecosystem.
Piali, can you help with the next slide, please?
Uh,
Wow.
The first one is the Indian flapshell turtle. This is endangered. In the middle, there is Indian monitor lizard and the woodpeckers. Below, these are the red crabs, where they are also endangered animals now. The sandy beaches are covered by human population, so they are getting extinct. We have to take care of this.
So where are these crabs, the photographs from?
Bokhali, Fraserganj. You can see them at Mondarmoni also. Mondarmoni beach.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. The turtle was photographed at Rajarhat.
Next, Piali. Okay.
Indian
Yes. Could we
Indian
have,
grey mongoose.
yeah. Okay.
Which was photographed at Ravindra Sarovar.
Okay.
Below, the Indian palm squirrel at Victoria Memorial Ground, and the
Wow.
osprey near Bardhaman, the Purvasthali.
Fine.
Yeah,
In
it's
fact,
an European bird, fish hawk or osprey.
Piali, you had also shared, Piali, Dr. Dev had also shared certain photographs that she had taken of some colorful birds during the pandemic. So can we have a quick glance of those, Piali? And then we go back to DJ for his call on Beyond Birds. Piali, do you have the slides ready?
Yes, we have
Thank
observed
you.
so many colorful birds
Wow.
during the pandemics in Ravindra Sarovar. This is blue-throated blue flycatcher at
Fantastic. At Ravindra
Ravindra
Sarovar
Sarovar.
itself. Next photograph, Piali.
The
What
Indian robin
colours?
blue robin.
Wow. Fine. The next one, Piali.
Indian pitta at Ravindra Sarovar. It has multicolor, about 9 to 10 colors
Yeah.
in its body.
Just
Painted stork
Just 1 minute.
with its
Just one.
cheeks.
Just 1 minute, Piali, Mitali, on Indian pitta. I find many people asking for Indian names of birds. This is known as.
It's Bornali.
This is known as.
The Bengali name is Bornali.
Yeah, and in western part it is known as Navranga.
Yeah, Navranga.
It's got 9 colors.
It's a beautiful bird.
Thank you, DJ, for attending that question. Thank you. Any more photographs on the pandemic? I think this is the last one, the stop one.
We have seen lots of birds. There are violet cuckoo, ultramarine flycatcher, the red-breasted flycatcher, the tiger flycatcher. There's so many birds, migratory birds in the Ravindra Sarovar. Not only Ravindra Sarovar, I have seen the migratory birds in my own garden also.
Yes, absolutely, Mitali. You're
Yeah.
100% right. I do a lot of terrace birding during
I have seen
lockdown.
around my house, birds were walking on the road,
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I do a lot
and
of
the noise of birds everywhere.
yes, yes. I do a lot of
There were
terrace
noise of
birding.
birds everywhere.
Terrace birding
Yeah,
has
we
been
have
a
done. We have done terrace birding lots of the time.
yes,
Most of the time.
yes, most of the time. Yes.
So DJ, your last your take on Beyond Birds.
Uh, you know, Abhi, I've got a few slides. I find a question here from someone called Monica Khosla. Can speakers maybe comment on the similarities between the African and the Indian wildlife and bird life? So, I would like to have my slides on Beyond Birding, please. That would be slide number 23 and 25.
Yeah, Piali, could we have DJ's last slides, please? Yeah, 24. Wow, wow.
20, 23, 20, 24, yes. This is the tiger, it's shot at Ghana. This tiger is the famous T2. Um, and, this was ultimately, shipped off to Satkosia when the tiger relocation. And because of the lack of food in Satkosia, lack of tears and other uh, food, it ventured into the villages. Unfortunately, this tiger was shot at Satkosia. And this is most probably the last existing shot of T2, which I have. As regards the question, you will find that the tigers are usually, uh, their territories are, sort of savanna grasslands. The African tigers, lions are also in the savanna grasslands. The situation in Ghana, Madhya Pradesh, which is a dry area, has also certain areas which are savanna grasslands. There, that is the place where these huge carnivorous beasts are sort of found. Animals are sort of found. But the only problem with the African jungles, the Masai Mara and others, would be that over there it's just simply grasslands with a little bit of acacia trees. But when you talk about the jungles of India, they are deciduous forests with uh, a little portion of it savanna. Now the now this tiger has come out to the open. It came out through a deciduous forest and is crossing the road into the savanna grass. So I think uh, that's that's a similarity there. But I have the next slide, please. This is a what we call the cheetah or the leopard. It's different from the African leopard. This is a cheetah. This is not the leopard as we know it, because it is distinguished by the spots. The leopard has different spots. The cheetah has different spots. Now, this is a brackish waterhole, which is in the jungles of Panna. Now, you can see that near its throat, when I'm looking at my screen, the left-hand side near its throat, you can see there are blood marks. So it just happened to make a kill, and it's come to drink water at that watering hole, and this after this drink of water, they would lie peacefully in some shade for about 2 days before it becomes active again. But in Africa, when you look at the leopards there, you know, uh, because one might say, okay, there's a lot of prey in Africa. So what is the problem? The problem is that as the season gets drier and, the prey starts to migrate across the vast savanna into the other side where there is rain, what happens is the, uh, the, the leopards are starved of prey. And so they're always on the lookout. This cheetah has got a nice rounded stomach. The African leopard does not have that. he is always hungry. So, we can understand from that. Now, talking about elephants, there is a difference between the Asian elephant and the African elephant. The African elephant is a much larger beast with larger ears. The Indian elephant is not. And the Indian elephant usually, inhabits the sal tree jungles and the deciduous forests. But the African elephant actually, moves around in the savannah itself. So, answering Madam Costa's questions on that, if you could have the video, please, on the tiger.
Kelly, could we have the video, please? Thank you.
चलो पीछे चलो पीछे ले लो पीछे फटाफट जल्दी जल्दी क्लिक करो पीछे ले लो जब पीछे जा जाना पीछे जा जल्दी 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 रूपेश पीछे ले ले पीछे ले ले जल्दी ले 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 रोड में आएगा वो ले पीछे ले थोड़ा पीछे ले तो लाइट में अच्छी फोटो आएगी पीछे ले हाँ बस 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 फोटो क्लिक करना फटाक 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 यस बोलो नहीं हम रोकेंगे फटाफट फोटो लेना
पीछे चलो तो एकदम बिल्कुल सीधे सीधे आ रहे भाई
चलो लो फटाफट लो
चलिए 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 प्लीज चलिए हाँ প্রচন্ডভাবে দেখছি ওরে বাবা ও কিন্তু অ্যাটাক করার জন্য আসছে ওই দেখো
मैं ले रहा हूँ
ও কিন্তু আসছে
फोटो
Speechless. I mean, that's what it is.
लेना अब इसमें क्लिक करना है धूप में
আচ্ছা চুপ করো না
Stunning.
Fantastic, fantastic.
I mean, our evenings made, DJ. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for sharing this
Thank
one.
you so much.
I mean, your Abhishek, while the panel has focused on the biodiversity and urbanization, what are your views on the issue? And if you have any comments on DJ's
Yeah,
Tiger Walk video.
Correct. Before we get into your question, I'm still totally hypnotized by the Tiger Walk. I was in Sundarbans filming for Zoological Survey of India, documentary on Sundarban biodiversity reserves. We were there for 3 full days and we spent our nights in a steamer in the creeks of Sundarban where no one else is allowed. You know, it was specially, obviously, Zoological Survey of India being a central government body, obviously we were given access to places where no else tourists can go.
Oh,
So the steamer went and we were there with all our cameras, drone, everything. 3 days we spent, we could not take a tiger shot. So this is the irony.
patience.
This is the irony. See this man. No, we were patient. We were very patient. We had 5-6 cameras. It's not one.
Abhishek,
So 5-6 cameras.
Abhishek, I waited to take this video and the shot of the tiger for 3 hours at a particular spot.
Wow.
Absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely.
So you just can't, spend the whole day moving around. You got to know where it is and be patient to wait there for 3 to 4 hours before you get the shot.
Correct, correct. So I learned, obviously I learned because we had so many things to cover. So we had to go from one place to the other. But again, this is the learning that you have to be patient. You have to kind of camp at one particular place totally silently, be a part of nature.
Yes.
You have to be camouflaged and you have to be totally, like you should not be visible, should not be heard to capture marvelous shots like this. And especially with the recent film Shenni with Vidya Balan, this shot really, I'm sure the audience loved it because Shenni is such a super hit. Now, my take on biodiversity and urbanization is very simple. I'll take again to quote DJ, as nature tells you, please enjoy me. But it also gives you a signal, but let us enjoy too. So there has to be a balance. As we enjoy nature, you have to let all the natural elements have their enjoyment too. So we cannot get into their zones. The balance should be struck. And again, I'm quoting DJ while we were rehearsing. He's beautifully expressed it. Let nature surround us and let us not surround nature. What a fantastic one-liner. Let nature surround us and we cannot really surround nature. So nature, see, obviously urbanization has to happen, but we cannot disturb all the biozones. We cannot disturb the natural, endowments which a city has. So let them be preserved, conserved, and maybe reserved also. Let not have entry of everyone there, or maybe sometime when entry can happen. But if people are allowed to enter, it has to be under a lot of strictures. A big hurrah for all the wildlife enthusiasts, photographers, the birders, for championing the cause of this. They are the people who have opened my eyes. Maybe I was not sensitive enough, but after doing their lives are lake, or I'm a changed man.
Absolutely. You touched upon the last aspect that we wanted to showcase here, and I've seen one of the audience has already taken a cue from my last question to the all the panelists, that we know that urbanization is detrimental. How do we swear so that both go hand in hand? I would like all the panelists would give your last views on this before we end this session. Over to you, DJ. Abhishek has already touched upon it. So in case Mithali wants to go first and then DJ, carry on. Either of you can go for it.
Yeah. One thing I will highlight, that we should educate the urban people about the bad consequences of this urbanization, so that they can preserve or conserve the nature as well as the city. The both can be maintained in a balanced way, and the species can be conserved on our Mother Earth. Everyone can stay happily.
Coexist.
We can coexist.
DJ, your last words.
Yeah, for a long time, we have come across dire messages, gloomy assumptions about the fate of the planet. And this has led to an air of hopelessness to one of the biggest challenges facing mankind today. We as conservationists feel stymied. Business people, industrialists feel villainized. We have to come to accept the view that preserving the planet and growing the economy are mutually exclusive. This is the view which we hold today. But this is not right. But maybe this dichotomous view of human needs and conservation itself is a problem. What if advancing conservation and human development is not an either or proposition? Suppose we can look at it as a whole. What we can, if we can better both. The good news is that cities still retain their endemic native species. This opens up the door to new policies on preserving regional and global biodiversity. One of the main things which plague the urban development in India is lack of afforestation. Urbanization should be complemented with afforestation, targeting specific increment tree count. It's not like that, I've taken out 5 trees, I've planted 4. But what has been the increase in tree count? That is something which we have to look at. Vegetative growth, it adds to pervious ground cover, with potential for evaporating cooling, reduces the temperature, the surface temperature. Road traffic is a major source of pollution in India. We have the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway cutting down 12,000 trees. We have that. We have the Dwaraka Expressway cutting down 6,000 trees. So no, but what we are not getting to is, in spite of our commitments to reducing carbon footprints, in spite of our commitments on various summits, which says that we are trying to do something about ecology. Have we considered having green corridors for transport? Why can't we plant trees? And why can't we have pavements, permeable pavements, grass footpaths, green parking lots? Think about these. They will reduce the temperature. They will give you an ambient world to live in. Conserving green spaces, restoring natural plant species. Very important. We build a mall. We cut down a couple of trees. And then, the KMC tells us, okay, look, we got to plant trees out here. You have taken out 5, so plant 20. And what do we plant? Erica palms? What do we plant? Nice creepers, decorative plants. They are not biodiversity friendly. They are just beautifying the place. A jamun tree, a mango tree takes about 20 to 25 years to bear fruit and grow. But you have cut down those trees and you have planted Erica palms in their place. Cities located near biodiversity hotspots, Coimbatore in the Nilgiri biosphere, Kolkata in the Sundarban biosphere, unregulated, unplanned urban development. You have to understand that development has to be carried out in a manner so that ecological niches within the urban areas are preserved. As cities expand, natural ecosystems collapse. Wildlife supportive practices will have to come in place. The roofs in the cities, they represent 30% of the total surface area of the cities. Do we realize that, what happens at that 30% total surface area under the sun, under the tropical sun, gets heated up? What is the amount of radiation which goes out? What is the effect on the temperature of that particular place? How does it affect the biodiversity of the surrounding area? Why can't we have, green roofs where we replicate, the ground level vegetation, and which will have a cooling effect and radiate less surface heat, and also, maintain a semblance of canopy covers to, encourage migrant birds to come in. Make biodiversity and conservation a sustainable source of income for families in informal settlements. They will protect it. They will sort of, keep biodiversity and ecology protected. It will result in lesser change of ground cover, lesser loss of habitat. Today we talk about, there was someone, Karan Srivastava, who is the director of, Raptors India Conservation India. He said on the 17th floor, he's planted certain trees, creepers, on the 17th floor in Bombay. And the Munias come and, inspect that. He's got common morborn butterflies laying eggs there. So no, that is what we are looking at. We're looking at a situation where we have biomimicry and biomimetic buildings. We must understand that there's a simple logic. As parts of the world emerge from the pandemic, remember, carbon emissions are going to go up, and they are already going up. And this is the opportunity of a lifetime. Can we not make use of this opportunity to create a more sustainable, urban, developed, ecologically developed future for our generations to come? I think Debolina Chakraborty raised this question, so I think I have answered that also.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think
Fantastic.
whatever questions were put in the chat box during your presentations, you've already covered them. The one was on the birds' names, and there were a couple of other issues. This was one of them.
Obik, I just wanted to.
Thank you.
Obik,
Yep.
Obik,
Yeah, anybody? Yeah.
Obik, I had asked Piali to make a slide from the newspaper cutting today. Times Evoke has exactly today, Duhati, he is the professor for landscape architecture at Harvard University. So okay, so this was covered in Times Evoke, and this is what they say. Can I have the next slide, please? The next slide. See, an ecological, one sec, go back to the earlier one. Go back to the earlier one. Yeah, just keep it there. Go back to the earlier one. Next. Yeah, stay there. An ecological mandate which addresses urban sustainability and preserves nature's joy. This is the theme today. And, Gareth Doherty has absolutely struck the nail on the head. And this is what I have been telling you in my presentation, in my talk, that this is the future. This is what we have to look at. Thank you so much, Adi. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank the
Thank
panelists.
you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mitali Deb, DJ
Thank you so much.
Chakraborty, and Abhishek Ganguly for this engaging session. And it's nice to see that what we conceptualized a fortnight ago, it's actually being flashed by one of the major dailies, and what a coincidence, they come out with a similar feature today. So your passion and hard work has translated. I mean, that's it. And your passion, common passion that all of you have, and the hard work, which is translated to the beautiful photographs that we got to see. A visual treat for us. We wish to thank our president, Dr. Parker Ghosh, and the executive committee for their continued support. And of course, our our systems technical team of Debashish and Rao for arranging the platforms and hosting this session tonight. And of course, Piali. From
Can
the
I see the
library for the-
nesting photograph, please?
Sorry, which one?
I think it's ready. The nesting photograph. The Babui Pakhi.
Okay.
The
Okay. So world is
biouniverse
the
nest.
nest. World is the
yeah,
nest.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Piali, do you have any last slide of, I think our next is what she's referring to? Babui Pakhi?
Yeah.
Wow.
This photograph was taken at Durgapur, West Bengal.
Wow, wow, wow. And really, I mean, you continue to enthrall us, and thank you for that. And Piali, I mean, where you are outside Kolkata, stuck there, and thank you for the technical navigation and taking the trouble of sharing the screens, the slides, the videos of what the panelists has been able to share with us. And of course, we have a person who may not be a part of the team today, but Romit Ved has been always our go-to man for the technical, reference and backbone, whether we are on track. Romit is out of station and traveling, but a big thank you, Infinitus, for the communication design, the creators. Thank you so much. And of course, our esteemed audience for your support and encouragement. But before we sign off this evening, just to let you know that next Saturday, we are having our 11th session. This is July 10th. We bring you a book reading session from 3 rays, which are select pieces by Upendra Kishore, Shukumar, and Shotyajit Ray as part of our programs on Ray Centenaria. See you then. Good night and stay safe.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Calcutta Club.
Thank you, Mr. Gupta. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr.